What if the Soviet Union never collapsed? Would the Cold War still define our world? Would the United States still be the globe's only superpower? And what would life look like today if the hammer and sickle still flew over half the planet? In today's episode of Past Forward, we dive into an alternate timeline, one where the Soviet Union didn't fall in 1991, but adapted, survived, and maybe even thrived. To understand this world, we need to rewind. By the late 1980s, the Soviet Union was facing enormous challenges. The economy was stagnant. The war in Afghanistan was draining resources. Corruption and shortages plagued everyday life. When Mikhail Gorbachev introduced glasnost and perestroika, they were meant to reform the system, not destroy it. But instead, those changes unleashed a tidal wave of unrest and independence movements that ultimately tore the USSR apart. But let's imagine a different outcome, one where Soviet leadership successfully reformed the system, opening up the economy, just enough to survive while tightening political control to maintain unity. The USSR doesn't dissolve the Cold War, never truly ends, and the world takes a very different turn. In this version of history, Europe remains divided. The Berlin Wall never falls. NATO doesn't expand eastward because Soviet-aligned states, Poland, Hungary, the Baltic republics, stay behind the Iron Curtain. The United States continues to face a powerful adversary, not just diplomatically but economically, technologically, and militarily. The space race heats up again, with two superpowers still locked in competition. America and the Soviet Union keep pushing boundaries, not for exploration, but for dominance. The USSR launches military satellites, maybe even orbital weapons. The arms race never slows. Spy games continue, and the KGB still one of the most feared intelligence agencies in the world. Now imagine life inside this modern Soviet Union. There's no McDonald's in Moscow. Western tech giants never gain ground. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, replaced by tightly controlled state-run versions. The internet exists, but it's restricted, monitored, filtered. Jobs are assigned, media is censored. Freedom of speech, limited. But not everything is bleak. Education and healthcare, free. Student debt doesn't exist. Public housing is widespread. Ukraine and Kazakhstan remain powerful industrial engines still within the Soviet orbit. And yet dissatisfaction still simmers. Rebellion doesn't vanish, it just goes underground. Globally, the Soviet Union reshapes the map. China's rise might be slower as the USSR asserts influence across Asia. Proxy wars rage in Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America. In this world, Soviet troops could be stationed in Iraq or Cuba or Venezuela. Instead of a US-led world order, we get a planet split between two superpowers. The balance of power? More even, but also more dangerous. Nuclear weapons stay active everywhere, always on alert, always one step away from catastrophe. Progress continues, but always under the shadow of fear. The internet, global trade, international travel all move forward, just a little more slowly. And culturally, the world feels colder, more paranoid, less connected. But maybe, just maybe, there's another side to this alternate reality. A stronger Soviet Union might have kept Western arrogance in check. No Iraq war, more pressure to solve climate change, more balance in global leadership. Or maybe we'd still be living every day on the brink of nuclear war. History tells us the Soviet Union is gone, but alternate history lets us wonder, what if it wasn't? What if the Cold War never ended, and we still lived in a world divided not just by borders, but by ideology? What do you think life would be like if the USSR still existed? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more bold questions and deep dives from Past Forward. Because here we don't just explore what happened, we ask what could have happened.